Taoiseach, I want to ask you, will you react, or will the government react to this appalling situation in our south-east, and especially in Tipperary, with the trolley crisis and CUH, appalling last week, 55 today in Limerick with 7 North Tipperary, and 30 in South Tipperary. Now, South Tipperary is a much smaller building, and 30 in South Tipperary, or Clonmel St Joseph's, I like to call it, is as bad as nearly 100 in CUH because of the old building. While I do accept and welcome the work is progressing on the 40-bed modular, there's no sign of staff. This has been the third winter has just passed. This was promised and not delivered. But look, this cannot be sustained. The staff are at breaking point, and people are going, as other members said today, and going to A&Es with fear. You say that you worked in it years ago and for 3 different places. This is now. I'm not comparing with last year, the year before. This is spring, getting into kind of summer-type weather. There's no real major scares or with health issues, and it's appalling. And this pressure is ongoing on the frontline staff, and not a good service for the people of Tipperary, and I won't accept it.
Deputy Ferris on the same matter, and Deputy Scanlon on the same matter.
Good Count Caller. Taoiseach, at 9:20 this morning, I was contacted by a staff member from the A&E University Hospital Kerry, and the staff member told me that at that time was total mayhem in the A&E's wing of the hospital. There was 36 patients on trolleys and there was 12 patients on chairs, some of them since yesterday evening. Subsequent to that, I was contacted by my daughter Tricia, who is a counsellor, and she told me that she'd been contacted by relatives of the patients, and there's huge concern for their well-being. Would you, in the interest of health and safety, would it not be appropriate to call in HICWA to examine the situation?
Thank you, Count Caller, on the same issue. And in Sligo, Taoiseach, this morning there was 50 people on trolleys, and that's despite the fact that a commitment was given 12 months ago to increase bed numbers at Sligo General Hospital. And Taoiseach, you know, we say we don't give solutions, but one solution is to provide funding for home care for people so they can get out of hospital. It costs about €125 a week to keep somebody in their home. It's costing $7,000 a week for a hospital bed. It doesn't make it's economic madness what's happening at the moment. And I have people who have got letters stating yes, you're entitled to home help, but you're on a waiting list. And we're people that has passed away on that waiting list. And it's absolutely crazy what's going on at the moment. Thank you.
Same matter.
There were 50 people on trolleys today. There was 41 on trolleys yesterday. For the last week, there's been over 30 on trolleys. And really, the bed capacity is central to this issue. And there is a proposal there from the hospital to build a new 50-bed unit. We met with the Minister last week, myself and Deputy Tony McLaughlin. And while the Minister is saying he wants to progress that, you know, we need action right now to resolve the situation. And one of the things that can be done right now is that in the hospital, in the A&E department, there is advanced nurse practitioners. There's 2 of them there. They carry out work which is the cuts and bruises and small things that people come in with. The hospital has applied to have 2 more of those appointed. Twice they have been turned down. So if that was happened, it would relieve the situation immediately in the A&E department in Sligo Hospital, and it is a practical solution to the problem. Not going to resolve it, but it's something that needs to happen and can happen right now if those appointments were approved.
Thanks very much, Count Caller. I actually answered questions on this earlier on Neil's questions, so I don't want to repeat the same answers I gave earlier. I was checking on my phone to check out the HSE app, which indicates that overcrowding has been easing throughout the day, as it usually does, and the number of patients on trolleys is down to around 350 now. But that is, of course, still far too many. In relation to Clonmel, as the Deputy acknowledged, there is a 40-bed ward block now under construction. I went to see it when I was in Clonmel a few weeks ago. When it's completed, it will be staffed. But we know from bitter experience all over the country that merely providing additional beds and additional staff doesn't solve the problem. You need extra beds. You need to make sure that beds are used efficiently, that length of stay is reduced, that patients aren't waiting days for necessary investigations, to see specialists for interventions. A hospital that has a length of stay of 6 days needs more beds than one that's length of stay of 4, but no more people get treated. And the third element, which I mentioned earlier, is making sure that we do much more in primary care and in the community, because we do too much in our hospitals in Ireland and not enough in the community.
All right,
and that's why we concluded an agreement with GPs last week.